Now they filed in tonight a full house from gorgeous Target Field as moments ago a special on-field ceremony celebrating the 1965 American League champion Minnesota Twins, and it is a sold-out crowd here tonight. It's Game 3 of this 4-game series. The Mariners and the Minnesota Twins. The Twins trying to hang around in the wild card conversation as Mike Montgomery gets set to take on Kyle Gibson. And Mike, having a look at the Mariners starting lineup tonight.
Leading things off for manager Lloyd McClendon, it'll be Ketel Marte. 0 for 4 last night, just his second big league start here tonight. Then it's Kyle Seager hitting second. Nelson Cruz in right field, batting third, an 11-game hitting streak, batting .400 with 6 home runs and 10 RBIs. Had 4 hits in last night's ball game. Cano back in the lineup, missed a few days. Now back in the lineup as the DH hitting cleanup. Smith, Jackson, Montero 2 hits, including his first home run of the season in last night's ball game. He will bat 7th. Miller and Zunino round out the 9 for the Mariners. Take a look at the numbers for Gibson on the year. 8-8, 3.41 ERA, 124 innings pitched, 88 strikeouts, only 39 walks for him. Opponents hitting .253. Again, a sinker ball. He's only given up 12 home runs this year. And we'll take a look at the defense for the Twins, brought to you by American Family Insurance. Rosario in left field, Hicks in center, Hunter out in right. Plouffe back with the club, missed a few days, back in the lineup at third. Escobar and Dozier playing up the middle. Joe Mauer's at first base, and the veteran Kurt Suzuki will do the catching. And the last start for Kyle Gibson, again, a tough one for him, 5 1/3 against the Yankees. 6 hits, 6 earned runs in that one, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts. He threw 94 pitches.
It's really been odd to see Gibson struggle as much as he has the last 2 starts. He started the final game before the All-Star break for the Twins, pitched very well, but has not opened up the second half of the season all that strong. He faces Ketel Marte to begin things and pours in a first pitch strike. Now, Mike, earlier today Lloyd was talking about Marte last night making his major league debut, and some of the comments Lloyd saying he didn't seem overwhelmed. The game didn't get too fast for him. He was very pleased about that.
Well, it was one of the things that's the reason why I really wanted to be down by the batting cage yesterday, knowing he was getting his first start. I wanted to see him go through the paces and take his batting practice, and I had the same impression. He didn't seem overwhelmed or really too excited about anything. Ended up getting a couple of ground balls, no problem there, out at second base. Mixed in a walk and scored a run.
Didn't get his first ground ball at second until what, the 7th or the 8th inning?
I think it was 7th or 8th inning.
Had to wait around for a while. And Marte down on strikes. On-speed pitch there from Gibson. Strikes out the first man that he sees to begin the ball game tonight.
Well, that's his best pitch, his changeup. He'll throw his changeup off of his sinker, and this one just 84 miles an hour. Marte out in front of it. He has a good fastball at 92 miles an hour. He'll take a little bit off to sink it as the game moves on. It'll be more around 89, 90 to sink it. But his changeup is very good. He'll also mix in a slider to the right-handers.
Leadoff man retired. That brings in Kyle Seager, coming off a fine month of July. Seager hit .295 last month. That was his best month of the season in terms of just pure average. He hit a little over .230 the previous month. So Seager trying to bring some momentum into the month of August. And quickly 0-2.
Well, Gibson pitched against the Mariners back on April 26th. That was back at Safeco. Pitched well, won 7 innings, gave up a couple of earned runs in that one. Had 3 walks and 3 strikeouts through 99 pitches.
Edgar looking on for the dugout. 1 out, nobody on. Seager behind. They have the shift on for Kyle. Gibson, 27 years old, out of Greenfield, Indiana, which is only about 30 minutes east of downtown Indianapolis. Pitched at the University of Missouri, former first-round draft pick back in 2013 by the Twins. Pardon me, back in 2009. Made his debut in 2013. Right now, Gibson in his second full season in the majors, and he has Cruz looming on deck. 4 hits last night for Nelson. And the 2-2. The opposite way and a base hit. Away from the shift, Seager is aboard with 1 out.
One of the things that I've talked a lot about, Aaron, this year is the shifts and pitchers basically pitching away from their defense. This is a running fastball, 94 miles an hour, just off the outside corner with a couple of strikes, and Kyle doing what he's supposed to, hitting the ball the other way. Really pitching away from the shift that they had on. Kyle taking advantage of it.
That brings in Cruz. Last night, 4 hits, a triple shy of the cycle. You can see what he's done during that 11-game hitting streak, batting .400. And he clobbers this to center. Hicks, the sunshine's not going to get to it. Seager pedals into third base, and it's over the fence for a ground rule double. So Seager has to hold up at third.
It actually went up in the padding of the fence.
You can see Hicks put his hands up almost right away.
It'll bounce off the track, and then that ledge, the padding right there between the chain link and the padding, it sticks in there.
It's a trick shot.
Looking at the numbers in July, and we show that what the Mariners have done, it really is the core group of guys that have done a lot of damage. Kyle Seager with 33 hits. Robinson Cano is stepping in now with 33, and Nelson Cruz, 5th in the American League, with 37. Looks like they're trending well here on the 1st of August, with Seager getting a base hit, now the double by Cruz.
It's a nice start. Marte struck out to begin the inning. 1 out, 2 on. As Cano returns to the lineup, he's been out for the last 3 games. An abdominal strain. And Lloyd saying earlier today that the plan for Cano, he will DH today. He will likely DH tomorrow if all things go well tonight. And then we will see him back in the field at second base on Monday when we head to Colorado interleague play against the Rockies for 3 games.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch him tonight if he has to run the bases, because that is basically what bothers him the most, is trying to run. Trevor Plouffe, the third baseman, playing even with the bag. Middle of the diamond for the Twins, playing back, so ground ball will score a run for the Mariners.
Here comes a 2-0 from Gibson, and it gets Cano swinging.
Didn't want to get into him. He has first base open. Seth Smith waiting on deck, and he threw him a changeup that was down out of the strike zone. There's Seth.
Talking about the offense, that has certainly not been a problem the first 2 games. The series split so far. Last night, 6 runs, 13 hits for the Mariners. Game 1, 5 runs, 11 hits for the Mariners. Up the middle, Escobar deep there. A run comes in. Cano is out, but he brings in Seager from third base, so the Mariners take an early 1-0 lead.
And once he gets past Gibson, the pitcher, it's an easy RBI. Pretty good play by the shortstop, Escobar. Cruz moves up to third on the ground ball.
So Cruz 90 feet from home, 2 outs. That'll bring in Smith. Not many at-bats in his career against Gibson, but has had success. 2 for 3, a homer and a double. Cruz doubled to center field to get aboard. Maybe somewhat quietly this year, Seth Smith, 2nd on the Mariners in terms of doubles. He was 4th in extra base hits. He's been a big contributor. And now ahead of the count.
I think the main thing with Seth this year, especially for Lloyd McClendon, and month of July was good for the Mariners offensively. A struggle the first 3 months. I think that he felt that he could really count on Seth day after day in the type of at-bats he was going to have. You know what you're going to get from him on a daily basis.
As he lifts this to center field, Hicks It's a little bit of an adjustment. Cruz is over and he makes the catch. Smith out to center. Cruz left to third, but a run comes home. RBI ground out by Cano. The Mariners have given Mike Montgomery the early lead. Rookie Mike Montgomery making his 12th career big league start here tonight. It's his first against the Minnesota Twins as the Mariners have given him an early 1-0 lead. We go to the bottom of the first inning. And Mike having a look at Paul Molitor's lineup tonight.
And leading off, it will be Brian Dozier. He's led off all 3 games in the series. Aaron Hicks, a 400 hitter against left-handers this year. He will bat second. Then Smauer, Sano, Klug. Torrey Hunter, 19th season, 278 with 347 home runs on his career. Rosario, Suzuki, and Escobar round out the 9 for the Twins. And we'll take a look at Mike Montgomery. 4-4 on the year, a 3.20 ERA. He has really pitched well for the Mariners. 50 strikeouts, 25 walks. Opponents hitting just .226 against Mike. And we'll take a look at the defense for the Mariners. Again, Cano the DH. You have Seth Smith in left, Jackson in center, Nelson Cruz out in right, Kyle Seager at third, Miller and Marte playing up the middle. Jose Montero at first base, and Mike Zunino will do the catching. And we have a little bit of a delay. Lloyd McClendon had come out of the dugout and went and spoke to the umpires, and so they're checking on something. In the meantime, Mike Montgomery standing behind the mound. He's ready to go. You look at the Twins. Hicks is a guy, he's really worn out left-hander. It's a 404 average. But you have to be careful with Brian Dozier. He's the power guy, and he has 6 home runs against lefties this year.
He's been fantastic at All-Star. It looks like the initial reports that we are getting quickly is that the Mariners might have lost their ability to get any type of video feed in the video room here at Target Field, which Chris Prieto would use to assess whether or not a play should be challenged. If they're not, there should be a replay review. And this has happened before to the Mariners this year, at least one time that we know of. The problem was solved quickly at Safeco Field. But what the umpire at the time told Lloyd when that happened earlier is that if you don't have access to your replay equipment, you have unlimited challenges. That was truly what the umpire told Lloyd.
Is that right?
Yeah. And he said, well, and Lloyd, of course, joking with the umpire, said, well, fine, it's not fixed, and it won't be fixed. So when we find out something more, we'll let you know. But there is a bit of a precedent for this. Well, you don't see it often. So after a little bit of a delay, Brian Dozier will dig in. Montgomery, 26 years old, out of Valencia, California. This is only big league start number 12 in his young career. And this is a point that pitching coach Rick Waits has made a number of times. We see Walker last night, 22 years old, so significantly younger than Montgomery at 26. But really, when you talk about youth and young pitchers specifically, Now, age is not just necessarily in the number, but how much time you've spent up in the big leagues. You can be a 26-year-old pitcher and still be a young pitcher.
Well, you can, and it all comes down to experience. And although he's had his time in the minor leagues, pitching at this level is completely different. Although he's pitched well for the Mariners.
Easy play for Brad Miller in out number 1.
For Mike Montgomery, good fastball. He'll be in the low 90s with his fastball. Likes his changeup. You also see him mix in a curveball and a slider.
Montgomery coming off a quality start at home against Arizona. Seems like the walks have been the big problem for Montgomery lately.
Well, again, it comes down to command, and you mentioned it. Experience at this level, and I think at times what happens, and this is one of the things that will get younger pitchers, Aaron, is some of those borderline pitches that he's not getting here because they are both at the minor league level. Those guys will swing at it, and I think there's a fine line there, and sometimes you think that you're going to get some swings and you're just not going to, and I think Mike certainly realizes that. But you can get away with more down in the minor leagues than you can here.
Quickly ahead 0-2 to Hicks.
That's good. Talking about command, how about Taijuan Walker last night? Just the one hit. 30 batters faced 24 first pitch of strikes. He was working ahead all night, was able to use his curveball effectively. Had a great changeup. And his fastball, he was 95, 97 miles an hour. What an outing. One hit.
We'll take a look at his line here in a moment. As quickly Hicks is down swinging. And 2 outs right away from Montgomery. We'll take a look at Taijuan's line from a night ago.
9 innings, just the one hit. It was a solo home run. It was on a changeup. 1 walk last night, 11 strikeouts. He threw 101 pitches. Really just an outstanding outing. 12th one-hitter in franchise history.
So you look at the numbers there, and this is what's so great about a game like last night, Mike. It's a blast to watch, and it's almost as fun afterwards to go back and just look at the numbers and where they fit in with not only franchise history but also this year in baseball. You take a look at starting pitchers this season who have gone a complete game with at least 11 strikeouts, and the names that you rattle off are guys who are in the All-Star game. Guys like Clayton Kershaw, Johnny Cueto, Max Scherzer, Dallas Keuchel, who started the All-Star game, David Price, Cole Hamels, and now Taijuan Walker.
I thought it was a lot of fun last night. You and I chuckled about it as we were walking out of the stadium. But getting on the elevator, we ran into Jack Morris. And you asked him,
I said, what stood out to you the most? What'd you like the most about Taijuan tonight?
And he said,
all of it.
Everything.
Everything. It was great. Bauer, a 4-pitch walk with 2 outs. Not what Montgomery was looking for. Because Morris is in an interesting dilemma there, because a great all-star pitcher that he was, he enjoys watching high caliber pitching more than anybody, but it's going against the team that he's broadcasting for.
Right. No, exactly.
But after the fact, as he can kind of reflect on it 20 minutes after the game's over with, you could tell he was saying that he just didn't make any mistakes. Well, one, the changeup.
I thought it was pretty obvious that he really appreciated the effort by Taijuan last night.
No doubt. Now, Sano had the only hit last night for the Twins, the home run to left field. His 4th this year. And he lines this into left, but a foul ball. And the early returns for Sano have been very positive for the Twins and Paul Molitor.
They have been hitting .296, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs for him. That's in 74 at bats.
And the jump from Double-A to the big leagues has been one of the Twins' top prospects in recent years. Up and in, watch out.
Take a look at it. 92 miles an hour. It'll make you think about leaning out over the plate for the changeup.
Liner into center. Jackson plays it easily. Bauer stranded, and that'll do it for the Twins. And they're having the first. We go to the second. Mariners have the early lead. top of the second inning, and all of us here at Root Sports would like to welcome Clear Creek Communications subscribers from Oregon City, Oregon, just a little bit outside of Portland. Thank you for rooting on the Seattle Mariners. All of us here at Root Sports and the Mariners certainly appreciate your support. Glad to have you with us tonight. Here is Austin Jackson to begin the Mariners' second. Gibson got a strikeout to Marte to begin the first, but then a single to Seager, a double by Cruz, and Cano, an RBI ground out. Mike, we were talking earlier about Gibson and his struggles here in the second half, and you look at his calendar and where and when he has pitched this year. He pitched on Sunday, the day right before the start of the All-Star break, and then had, of course, 4 days off for the break, and then didn't pitch until the fourth spot in the rotation after the break. There were arms that were fresher than went before him, and for a sinker baller, when you have that much time off, that can sometimes be a problem, can it?
No, it can be, and the thing that they don't want to do is overthrow, and another good changeup for him right there, because typically if they feel stronger, Aaron, they will overpower the baseball and not give it an opportunity to sink. And if he's expecting the ball to fall down at 91 miles an hour and instead he's throwing 94, 95, that sounds better, but it actually, for a guy that's throwing a sinker ball, it causes some problems.
And now faces Montero. Montero last night 2 for 4 in his return up to the big leagues. As we take a look at our Seattle City Light power play, one of those hits, Mike, was hit awfully well. His first home run of the majors in a while.
I'm not sure that he even ended up getting all of it as he clears the fence and hits it out into the bullpen. That was in left center field.
That's his first home run since homering against the Padres in mid-June of last year. So a couple of extra base hits for Montero. And it's been nothing but strikes so far here in the second from Gibson. And another strike, another punch out. 6 pitches, all strikes from Gibson here in the second.
Well, we've seen his changeup to the left-handers. This time it looks like a slider. After a couple of fastballs inside, it is. He throws the slider down off the plate, gets Montero to chase it.
Two quick outs for Miller. And starts him off with a strike. There have been only a handful of immaculate innings lately. None in the American League this year. There have been 2 in the National League. Mike Fiers now with the Astros, and Santiago Casilla. The 0-2, and it comes in and gets a piece of Miller. So a strike, a pitch away from the immaculate inning, and instead a hit batter.
And I'm not sure why he chose the slider right here, Brad. Letting the ball hit him. That slider hit him on the leg. But to the left-handers, he's been using his changeup, and he went with the slider and hit him with it.
So Miller aboard at first base. Here is Zunino, hot bat, 10-game hitting streak. And a soft grounder there to Escobar, the flip. And he'll take care of Miller. Fielder's choice for Zunino. And we go to the bottom of the second here from Minneapolis. see you on hand as we induct Jamie Moyer into the Mariners Hall of Fame on Saturday, August 8th. Be sure to arrive early for the induction ceremony at 12:30, and then be one of the first 20,000 fans to pick up a commemorative bobblehead of the Southpaw. All you have to do is visit Mariners.com for tickets. First pitch, a strike to Plouffe. First time we're seeing Plouffe in this series. He's been on the paternity list the last few days. He and his wife celebrating the birth of their first child, a baby boy, Wednesday just before midnight. And as one of the reporters asked Plouffe today, well, you're well rested, but are you well rested?
It's a good question.
Thought so. 1-2. Plouffe having a nice season, 14 homers, 55 RBIs. To his counterpart there at Seager, third baseman on the first base. Ground ball out to begin the bottom of the second. We'll take a look now at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. The finale tomorrow. Day baseball from Minneapolis, and then interleague play against the Rockies. The last place Rockies, boy, their rotation really struggling once again, the worst in baseball. A day off on Thursday at home for the Mariners, and then a homestand with the Rangers and the Orioles. And Saturday, Jamie Moyer Hall of Fame Day. It's been strange the way the schedule has worked out this year. The Mariners have not seen the Rangers since it seems like late April, early May. It's been a long time. And then the schedule is incredibly backloaded with series against Texas. Both pitches in tight to Hunter, 0-2. Stays alive. Now, Hunter's been in the big leagues for a long time. This is year number 19, and among all active players in the game, he has more hits against the Mariners than anyone. He has 9 more than Mark Teixeira. Hunter signing a 1-year contract with the Twins, team that originally drafted him in the first round. Says he's not sure yet about next year.
I think at this point in his career, he'll probably play the season out, go home for a little bit of time, figure out if he wants to play or not. He can still play. There's no question about that.
And he said he's at a stage in his career where he's a 1-year contract guy. No multi-year deals for Hunter, now 40 years old. Good for him. And by the way, we saw before we began the bottom of the first, Lloyd talking with one of the umpires about the replay system, and we have been told that the replay system is up and running, so the Mariners are all locked in. Just off the plate.
Well, Torrey, the veteran, making Mike work. This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
Brad Miller coasts out. There comes Smith. And it is Seth Smith to make the catch. Two outs for Rosario. Mariners got the lead back in the first inning on a ground ball out by Cano. Twins injured tonight. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, and their lead for the second wild card spot has been trimmed a little bit. They're just a game ahead of the Orioles and the Blue Jays. Minnesota making some roster moves after the game last night. Danny Santana, who has really struggled this year offensively. Santana, an infielder, has been Option to AAA. Polanco, who we've seen at shortstop of this series. Option to AA. As Rosario lines this to Seth Smith. 1, 2, 3 innings spun by Mike Montgomery. We're through 2. Mariners on top. By Alaska Airlines, 80 nonstop destinations and growing. By your local Ford stores. By the Emerald Queen Casino, welcoming Chris Young August 14th. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. And by Safeco Insurance, find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. Nice look at the Hennepin Avenue Bridge. Another beautiful day here in Minneapolis. This pitch temperature in the mid-80s. As we're back to the top of the order, it is Ketel Marte. Marte has spent much of his career as a leadoff hitter, especially this year with Tacoma. So being at the top of the order is nothing new for him. It's been a busy season for Marte. Was selected to play in the Futures game this year over the Major League All-Star break in Cincinnati. Also played in the AAA All-Star game. He was a shortstop there, a second baseman at the Futures game. He's been on the move. Add to that a call to the big leagues.
He's a switch hitter, and right now against Gibson in his first at bat, and now in this at bat, the fastballs. That last pitch was a slider, a little bit different, but on the fastballs, he looks to me as if he's trying to pull him, and that's not going to work out too well for him unless Gibson makes a mistake. He's coming inside again.
Soft tapper and foul. What can you draw so far from Gibson as we've seen him go through the order one time?
Well, I like his arm. His four-seamer at 94. It looks as if it gets on you pretty good. He's tall, so and throwing straight downhill. Obviously, his sinker has been down. We talked about the problems he was having in his last two outings. His changeup has been his best pitch, and looks like his slider a little bit flat so far.
Right to Dozier.
And that was on the changeup.
Marte 0 for 2. They'll bring in Seager. I'll bring your little leaguers to see the big leaguers at Safeco Field. While you're there, make sure to stop by the Seattle Children's Playfield located in center field. There's fun to be had for the whole family. You can join us at the ballpark for Mariners baseball. So 7-pitch at bat for Marte that ends in a line out to Dozier at second base. That'll bring in Seager. Something that somehow maybe a little bit gets lost in the shuffle with Kyle. This year alone, no player has been on the field more than Seager. No player has played more games than the man right there. And if you go back to 2012, Kyle Seager has played more games than anyone in Major League Baseball. He's played one more than Robinson Cano, who's right behind him.
And it doesn't seem to bother him at all. We talk about guys getting rest, and Kyle will get a day from time to time, but for the most part, you can put him in the lineup every day, and he doesn't seem to wear down. Mentally, he seems to be able to handle the grind of a long season playing every day. And fortunately for the Mariners, he's been healthy.
2 balls and a strike his way. He singled and scored back at the first. They had the shift on for him then. No shift this time. And on cue with 2 strikes.
Well, hopefully Gibson will throw him another fastball on the outside corner and let him hit it the other way again.
Now Jim Cott is here, 25 years in the big leagues, as the Twins are celebrating the 50th anniversary of their pennant-winning team back in 1965. I wonder what Jim Cott would think about pitching to the shift, because some pitchers act as though it's not even going on behind them. They pitch their normal game, and other pitchers will pitch to the shift.
Right. I think that if you ask him, the shift obviously is something that we see on a nightly basis now.
Towards Hicks, doesn't have to move a whole lot.
But I would bet you, with the style of pitcher that he was, as quickly as he worked, he pitched to his defense, or he pitched away from the trouble areas in a certain ballpark. I would guarantee you he would tell you that.
25 years, Mike. Can you even fathom that? For Cott in the major leagues.
Right. I'm not sure what his age is. Maybe 75. Somewhere there, and he threw out the first pitch last night and still has the high leg kick and threw a strike. So he's amazing. I had a chance to talk to him quite a bit today, and it was a lot of fun. And just the games that he's obviously, you said 25 years that he's pitched in and been around, and today was a big celebration for that 65 team. All the games that he's called on there.
There he is.
Yeah. But he hasn't forgotten any of it.
2 outs, 1 and 1 to Cruz. Dozier's way, gobbles it up. And a 1-2-3 inning spun by Gibson. That takes us to the bottom of the 3rd. The Mariners on top by a run. The third, as we take a look now at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings, and tonight we focus on the American League wildcard race. The Angels, who right now have lost 4 in a row, they're atop the standings. The Twins right behind them, but then watch out behind Minnesota, the Orioles and the Jays, and then the Rangers a little bit of the mix as well. Now with Cole Hamels. There was Kurt Suzuki batting 8th. Suzuki had most of last night off. He came off the bench to catch late in the game. Suzuki an all-star last year when the game was played right here in Minneapolis.
Those wild card standings, the Angels now have Trout back in the lineup, and that is a good thing. And I was really interested in the game yesterday, the Kansas City and Toronto going at it in Toronto, and Kansas City had an early lead with Cueto on the mound, and Toronto ended up coming back and winning the ball game.
Seager near the line, the bare hand, the throw, and Suzuki's safe offline.
That's the first hit for the Twins tonight. It's an infield hit. Kyle barehanded play. That ball definitely would have stayed fair. He didn't have much choice. And a good play by Montero. He comes off the bag. So many times you'll see a first baseman try to keep their foot on the base, and the ball ended down the right field line. No chance to get Suzuki, so he came off the bag to make the catch. But I think it'll be interesting to watch the Jays with the offense, and of course Price now at the top of that rotation. But Kansas City ended up winning today 7-6. Ventura started that game for Kansas City.
Looks like Zobrist had a couple of homers too. And how about that for Cueto? You come to Kansas City, the best bullpen in the universe, and the bullpen doesn't come through in his Royals debut, which is probably the last thing anybody was expecting. First pitch coming to Escobar for a strike.
And Mark Lowe, a tough day today for the Blue Jays. Obviously, probably the most reliable reliever that the Mariners had this year. He ended up getting into the ball game, had a tough outing, so hopefully he'll bounce back quickly from that.
Check swing goes around 0-2. It's always strange that first time. There was a picture online of Lowe being introduced to the media, and he's got the Blue Jays hat on, and he's in the. It's just strange that first time.
I agree. It is strange for him too.
Swing and a miss there as he gets spun around a little bit. Awkward swing from Escobar. That's another example of how good that changeup can be for Montgomery.
We'll take a look at it. You see Mike Zunino set up. Good job keeping the ball in front of him.
One out, one on. And it'll bring in Dozier. Dozier this year second in the major leagues in runs, fourth in doubles, fourth in extra base hits. Through the left side. That pushes Suzuki into second base, and the Twins have 2 on with 1 out.
There aren't too many teams that have a leadoff hitter with 22 home runs, and Dozier has 22 home runs. He picks up a base hit this time. Mike trying to get the ground ball. He ends up getting him to hit it on the ground, but unfortunately it finds a hole on the left side of the infield. He gets past Kyle Seager at third.
It brings in Hicks, who struck out in the first inning on a fastball for Montgomery.
So the Twins have their first runner in scoring position tonight.
Montgomery's 1-0. Hicks was talking about Taijuan Walker a little bit today and about his changeup, and he said his changeup. He said that's what that was at 90 miles an hour. Yep, that's his changeup.
His fastball topped out at 97 last night.
Slicing to right field, and it drops one in front of Cruz. Suzuki held up at third base, and the Twins have him loaded.
We talked about the first two hitters in the Twins lineup. Dozier with 6 home runs against lefty. Hicks came into the game hitting .404 against left-handed pitching, and this is a big reason why he's willing to go the other way. Gets a fastball and a good count, drives it out to right field. Nelson Cruz doing the right thing. He thought about maybe trying to make the catch. It would have been dicey, so he stays back and makes a strong throw to home.
Base is full for Mauer, who walked on 4 pitches in the first. Gets him to go around for strike 1.
The Twins this year have really done a good job hitting with runners in scoring position. At the start of the game today, hitting .278 runners in scoring position. And as you look at Mauer's number in his career with the bases loaded, a .348 hitter.
Mariners have a slim lead. Right there, ground ball, Marte, the bobble, and they'll get one over at second base to first, and it's in time. That was huge, and Marte able to recover, and the Twins are held off the board. We go to the 4th. In time to end the inning.
Well, good job by Marte, the young second baseman. Just his second game in the big leagues. Ball eats him up a little bit, but he's able to stay with it, doesn't panic. And then Brad Miller with the strong throw to finish the double play. And Mike Montgomery, again, as you take another look at it, ball comes up on him. But Mike Montgomery, we've seen that from him all year long. When he gets in trouble, he really has a knack for getting the ground ball, and getting double plays and getting out of trouble.
The one that really stands out was his first complete game shutout against the Royals. First inning, Royals had the bases loaded, and you knew there'd be some jitters for Montgomery going up against the team that drafted him in the first round, and was able to get out of it unscathed. The ground ball double play, and then went on to go the distance that night. Cano leads off the Mariners' 4th inning. Gibson's first pitch. Clocked into left field. Rosario comes in. Hit hard, but right to the left fielder for round number 1. That brings in Seth Smith, who flew out to center field to end the first inning. Now, as the Mariners turn the calendar to August, when you go back and look at what the Mariners did offensively in July, it's very impressive. No team homered more than the Mariners last month. Tied for the most home runs in baseball with the Tigers. 51 doubles, tied for the second most in baseball. 7th most runs in the major leagues. Unfortunately, the month ended with the Mariners going 12-15, and the pitching was not the same pitching that the Mariners had in previous months. So kind of some poor timing on that end.
Yeah, no, I was looking at it yesterday before the game, and Taijuan Walker's outing certainly helped us, but they had a 4.77 ERA for the month of July. And when you're a team that has been built around your pitching and defense, that's a rough month.
And if you want to get into the nitty-gritties of the numbers, the Mariners averaged 4.4 runs a game. They allowed on average 4.9 runs per game. So you got to that magic number 4, but it wasn't held up on both ends.
Well, we said it. Hopefully Taijuan Walker and his outing last night gets the guys moving in the right direction as far as the pitching goes. It was nice to see him go out and do that and give the bullpen a night off. There's Taijuan. Great outing. Just 1 hit through 9 innings last night.
Did not allow a hit or a walk to his final 17 batters faced. And those final 17 batters, 41 of 52 pitches for strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes to Smith. I'll tell you something else. We saw a trend continue for Taijuan last night, Mike. In his previous start against the Blue Jays, a career high 23 curveballs. Last night, 21.
And I think that's a great thing for him. Again, just he's growing here. Started out, they wanted him to use his fastball, establish his fastball. Another good changeup for Gibson to get the strikeout. And then we saw his changeup come around. And now the next step is to throw his curveball. And he had a good curveball again last night. His curveball around 75 miles an hour. His fastball at 95. So that's a pretty big separation. But the key to it, he was able to throw it for strikes. You mentioned all the strikes he threw, Aaron. A lot of those were with his curveball.
It was impressive. 2 outs for Austin Jackson. Quickly 0-2. A lot of strikes early on tonight for Gibson. And his 0-2. Down low, a ball and 2 strikes. Twins winning game 1 of the series. Mariners winning last night. Out hitting the Twins 13-1. To Dozier. And the second straight 1-2-3 inning spun by Kyle Gibson. We are off to the bottom of the 4th. Mariners have the lead. Famer, one of the game's all-time best.
You see the glove, Aaron?
I do see the glove, Mike.
Okay, well, Harmon Killebrew from home plate, right here at home plate to that glove is 520 feet. And that's where Harmon Killebrew hit a baseball. Can you believe that?
That's amazing.
The old Met that used to have a seat. You can see this right here. I mean,
sorry, Lou.
520 feet. And we've seen some long home runs this year. We haven't seen anybody get near 500 feet.
Not even close. And this is StatCast 1.0 that we were looking at right there. Sanoa, ball and 2 strikes. Killebrew sadly passing away a handful of years ago. Went into the Hall of Fame in 1984. Western Idaho.
Yeah.
Dairy farm. And the legends of Killebrew, as Marte makes this easy play, is that he got all of his strength from lifting 10-gallon milk jugs on that dairy farm. And the Twins do a marvelous job around Target Field, remembering the past, and Killebrew's a big part of it. Old football uniform. Almost went on to play in college. And they have a lot of Harmon Killebrew memorabilia. 11th most home runs ever, 573. And an absolute masher. And this has got a lot of carry back towards the wall, and Cruz off the wall. On to third base, Plouffe slides in, he's safe.
Take a look at Cruz trying to get up just out of his reach as it hits off the scoreboard. And watch the relay. Kyle Seager is going to stay with this tag. I think he thinks his foot came off and he had the tag on it before his hand came back down. It looked like the trail leg maybe stayed on the base.
So Plouffe on at third with 1 out. And it'll bring in Torrey Hunter. Tie and run 90 feet from home. Montgomery wiggled out of a jam with the bases full in the third. Now has to work around a 1-out triple.
Mariners have their infield in.
Nice strike there, 1-1. And a little tight, maybe. Ball and 2 strikes to Hunter. Is that cutter a pitch that we've seen Montgomery come in inside to a right-handed hitter like Hunter?
Yes, you'll see him use it a lot against the righties. And typically for him, yeah, if he can get on their hands, great. But even if they take the pitch, it sets up his changeup for him. And that's why you see him when he's pitching into the right-handers, most of the time it'll be the cutter. The reason why that works is because as a hitter, you see that fastball in there and then it cuts in on your hands. You try to get out there a little bit early, cheat on it some, and all of a sudden the changeup comes in there and you're way out in front of it. So basically he's trying to speed him up, if you will, to speed him up so that he can get him out with the changeup. Threw the changeup right there, but he missed with it.
Plouffe the triple off the wall. Use the tie and run at third base.
One of the things with Mike that has been impressive from the day that he has shown up, he has not been afraid to pitch inside. So many times you see young pitchers that they don't want to get hurt, afraid to throw the ball inside and leave it on the plate that somebody might hit a home run. But he's done it consistently, and there's another one inside. It's a pretty good battle going on with Hunter. I think Hunter saw 9 pitches in his first at bat, so he's made Mike work tonight. Veteran.
Hunter flew out to left back in the second inning. But you're at a couple of lengthy at bats. Again, the 3-2. Swing and a miss, and he got him going after some high heat. Hunter not pleased. That would have been ball 4, but instead it's out number 2.
Well, I think at this point, Torrey was just in swing mode, and he elevates the fastball. You can see Zunino up a little bit. He actually fouled it off, but Mike was able to hold on to it.
Blue still dangling out there at third. Here is Rosario. Rosario came a single shy of the cycle back in game 1. 1-1. And Montgomery had a ball and 2 strikes. Montgomery having to tiptoe around some trouble in the third and doing so here again in the fourth. Tying run 90 feet away. Zunino can't get it, and we're all tied up. And 2 strikes to Rosario. They get past Zunino, and the triple from Plouffe comes around to score.
And these are the frustrating ones for a pitcher. He gets the big strikeout for Hunter ahead of Rosario, and then he throws one to the backstop.
Another pitch fouled away by Rosario. That's the 8th wild pitch. And now 12 starts for Montgomery. Bases empty, 2 outs, all tied up.
You mentioned Rosario just missing the cycle in the first game. He really looks like a good young player. Came into the game today hitting .290 overall. He's hitting .288 against left-handers, .291 against right-handers. Has some pop in his bat, can run. Lined out his first time out to left field.
He's only 23 years old, and for the Twins, this seems to be a major storyline, as they've been mired in 90 lost seasons in multiple years at this point, and they've been waiting for this youth to come into the big leagues. Byron Buxton, one of them, unfortunately on the disabled list. He'll go out for rehab assignment tomorrow, but the Twins could see him at some point in early August, within a week or so. Rosario part of that. Marte sliding stop, a strong throw, and he got him.
Well, first base coach is saying that Montero came off the bag and both players still down on the ground. A great effort by Marte, and Montero doing everything he possibly could to keep his foot on the bag. I wasn't sure if on the play Rosario, his knee maybe ended up hitting him in the back of the head. Now you can see him pointing to the back of his neck. But the first base coach was thinking that he came off the bag. Again, you can see the effort by Marte, showing a lot of range and a strong arm with a little pop-up slide.
And you can see Montero's foot there, and boy, that's a collision.
Butch Davis, the first base coach, is the one you take a look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo. His foot comes on, but was it still on the base when he made the catch is the question, and that's when he catches the knee.
There you go. Now the Twins are taking the field. Kyle Gibson, the starting pitcher for Minnesota, taking the mound, so that stays as an out. No challenge. We go to the top of the 5th. We're all tied at 1 apiece. Off the 5th, he took a knee to the neck on what was ruled an out, and it stayed an out, and that was not pleasant. When you slow this down even further, you can see that the ball was in his glove with his foot still barely on the bag, and then his foot came off the bag, so there was no challenge.
And really two good defensive plays by the Mariners right there. Marte showing a lot of range because he was playing him to pull and ball back up the middle, and a strong arm, and then Montero able to keep his foot on the bag. Paid a price for it, but a good play on both sides.
And we mentioned it a little bit last night, but of course first base is a position that in many ways Montero's still learning.
Right.
Played it down with the Rainiers, but looking better there, it seems like. It was a good test.
We talked about Walker last night. A lot of first pitch strikes. That's what they're getting for Gibson tonight. 17 batters, 13 first pitch strikes. So he's consistently worked ahead.
He's facing the bottom 3rd of the order here in the Mariners' 5th inning. Chopper off the left side. Here is Escobar, the low glove. Out number 1. Follow the Mariners wherever you are with MLB.com. At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or for your tablet. Pleasant night here at Target Field. 1 out for Brad Miller. Miller grew up with the Twins fan at his house. His father is from Cedar Falls, Iowa, only about 90 minutes away. Grew up a huge Twins fan, and especially of Rod Carew. Now you ask Miller who his favorite player was growing up in Florida, and there's no hesitation whatsoever. It's Griffey. His room was littered with Griffey posters and memorabilia and whatnot.
I have a feeling that Junior sold a lot of posters.
Not just the Miller household. And a 4-pitch walk. 1 out, 1 on. Take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next as Hisashi Iwakuma gets the ball for the Mariners, making start number 9. And from one ground ball pitcher to another, Mike Pelfrey makes his 20th start for the Twins. Brings in Zunino. Go ahead run for the Mariners with some speed at first base. There goes Brad, hit and run on, and it's fouled away. Zunino trying to extend a career best 10-game hitting streak, batting .361 in that span. Last 10 games, 6 of his 13 hits have been for extra bases. Double play ball to Dozier. And no play on the first. Good slide there by Miller. And Mike Hustling into first base. So the inning continues.
Second baseman, Ketel Marte.
Second fielder's choice for Zunino. He's at first base. 2 outs, back to the top of the order. Marte is still in search of his first big league hit. Did draw a walk last night. Suzuki able to stay with it. Off the mound, tough play. Escobar can't do anything with it. Give him a base hit. That was not easy.
We'll take a look at it. He hits it hard right back up the middle. Escobar shading that way. And he was able to get a glove on it. A tough time getting it out of his glove right here. Good play. Slides. I think he was going to try to go to second. Loses the handle. Really good speed from Marte. I don't think he would have been able to throw Marte out.
And they do give it a hit, so there it is. First major league hit for Marte. An infield single. Zunino down at second. 2 on, 2 out. That brings in Seager. Barely got a piece. 1 ball and 1 strike. With that base hit back at the first, Seager now hitting .270 on the season. Has a chance to drive in the go-ahead run with 2 outs. And looks at a strike. Even dating back to last night, it seems like Twins pitchers have really been pitching him tight and inside. Marte at first. Zunino at second base. And the count evens up 2-2.
Lloyd McClendon hoping for a base hit. Escobar, the shortstop, playing more up the middle right now. Good hole on the left side of the infield.
And the 2-2 to right field. Hunter right back near the track. Seager flies straight. The Mariners strand a couple, and we go to the bottom of the 5th, all tied at 1. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by AM/PM. Too much good stuff. And by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. That's the Mariners fans taking this one in. Game 3 of 4 from beautiful Target Field in Minneapolis. Series tied up 1 game apiece. Kurt Suzuki will lead things off in the bottom of the 5th for the Twins.
You can see 66 pitches for Mike. He had to throw 20 pitches in the 4th inning.
Miller right there, and 1 pitch. Oh boy. So much for 1 out. Suzuki takes second base.
Costly here. We just mentioned the 20 pitches, and on the first pitch, routine ground ball. Brad fields it without a problem. And then airmails it into the camera well. So Suzuki will get into scoring position. And we'll see how Paul Molitor wants to play this one. Escobar, the number 9 hitter, struck out his first time up. Seager and Montero in on the corners.
Tried to bunt, ball 1. Seems like that's an example of, you don't see it only from Brad Miller, we see it from plenty of infielders, when you almost have too much time, as opposed to Brad when he has to make the bang bang play tight to the line here. Foul ball. I mean, we've seen Brad make sprawling stops, throw across his body, and the ball is right on the money.
Yeah, I think one of the keys when you are fielding a routine ground ball, which that was, Aaron, sometimes guys don't continue to move their feet. In other words, move their feet. You take a look at this, pretty close to the line when Kyle touches it, but it's clearly foul. You have to keep your feet moving. Start shortening that distance, and then you can cut it loose, which Brad does most of the time.
1-1 to Escobar. Peak at second base on Suzuki. Now, the Twins entered tonight as the only team in baseball with a run differential of 0. They have scored as many runs as they have allowed, and we are in a tied ball game. Cardinals this year the best run differential in baseball at 113 on the plus side. The Phillies the worst at negative 135 on the downside. That's the scale.
Ouch.
That's the scale.
Negative
135. The Twins have not finished a season with a positive run differential since 2010 when they finished in first place and won 94 games. Two-base error puts Suzuki at second. Three-quarters way around, ties him up a little bit. And a fastball in on Escobar. Gets him for round number one. I sure hope you can stick around after the game for Mariners post-game presented by Delta Airlines. We'll have a chance to hear from Mike Montgomery, from Lloyd McClendon, reaction from the clubhouse, and a whole lot more. Escobar strikes out for the second time.
Yeah, and one of the things you and I were talking about last night is hitting with runners in scoring position, Aaron. And I think if you look at the Twins and the season, they're pretty much in the middle of the pack offensively. They're 7th in hitting, 8th in runs scored, 9th in doubles, 11th in home runs.
First pitch curve for a strike to Dozier, back to the top of the order.
10th in ERA, below average fielding team, but they hit .278 with runners in scoring position.
That's a difference maker.
That's a difference maker.
Dozier behind 0-2. Suzuki still at second. He was the go-ahead run for the Twins. The Twins made one deal at the deadline. They acquired Kevin Jepson from the Rays. We've seen Jepson with the Angels out of their bullpen. He'll be a late inning guy for Paul Molitor. Cut right through it. Back-to-back strikeouts for Montgomery. Now has 5. And a fine pitch to Dozier.
Well, it's the changeup, and he's well out in front of it. We've seen from Mike again, gets into a little bit of trouble. Runner at second with nobody out, and a couple of strikeouts. He had the bases loaded earlier. Ends up getting the double play ball.
In steps Aaron Hicks. Get this for Kevin Jepson when he was traded. The Rays at Boston at Fenway Park. It was a family trip for the Rays at the deadline. So he's there with his wife, and he finds out he gets traded, so he has to come here. His wife goes back to Tampa Bay to get their belongings. The idea of a family trip is a great one. The idea of a family trip at the trade deadline,
not so much.
Man, it's tough to question the Rays. They've had a lot of success on the field, especially for a small market team, but that could go south pretty easily. Quickly ahead of Hicks 0-2. One and 2 to Hicks. Now the leadoff error with Suzuki, the ball he put in play, making Montgomery throw more pitches here in this inning. He's one away from number 80 now. Bullpen certainly fresh, wasn't used last night. Appeal and does not go.
90-mile-an-hour fastball up out of the strike zone, and they said he held up.
It was close.
80 pitches now for Montgomery.
Hicks down on strikes. Mike Montgomery strikes out the side, and he works around the two-base error, and he leaves the Twins go-ahead run stranded at second base. Arco top-tier performer, and it is Nelson Cruz in Pueblo. What a month of July. OPS over 1,000, hitting close to 340. And of course, the power there. We saw it last night on display, the opposite field homer.
Easy selection, I would say, looking at those numbers.
Cruz to lead off things in the top of the 6th inning. All even at 1 apiece. We talked earlier back at the homestand about how Cruz, one of only 3 players this year to hit at least 25 homers and have an average above 300. Trout and Harper being the other 2, but that's impressive. But then it's even more impressive when you put it in context in franchise history. The Mariners have not had a hitter do that since 2001, when Brett Boone had a monster season. Had those kind of numbers. But Edgar did it 5 times in his playing days. Griffey 5 times. A-Rod on 3 occasions. Phil Bradley was the first way back when. The 2-1. And it evens it up.
How about the batting practice that Cruz put on today?
I'm glad you brought that up. How can we forget?
He looked as if he was trying to hit one out of this stadium and almost did it.
Let's put it this way. We're going to have to zoom out to find the proper angle to show exactly where his batting practice home runs landed.
Well, he's one of the few hitters to ever hit one in the upper deck here.
Full count.
And if you look down the left field line, right there where that tunnel is, he hit a couple of them that I would say was probably, I don't know, 6-7 rows above that.
It was midway up the top deck, near the yellow shirt, near the lemonade guy. And this is thumped. This has a lot back to it, and there's another home run. Right on cue, Nelson Cruz, his 2nd hit tonight, both for extra bases, and a home run number 28. Mariners have taken the lead. I didn't quite find the lemonade guy, Mike, but it was close enough.
Hit the back wall of the bullpen. They'll take a look at an off-speed pitch, and it'll hit the back wall. So for Cruz, 4 hits last night. Let's take a look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo and the swing by Cruz, including a home run, and already 2 for 3 tonight with a double and a home run.
1-1 to Cano. Nelson has now a 12-game hitting streak. That ties the 2nd longest hitting streak of his career. Had a 19-gamer back in 2010 with Texas.
I'm going to say there aren't too many infield hits in that 12-game hitting streak. That last home run, 436 feet.
Now, during his streak, he has now, this is amazing, 12-game hitting streak. He has 7 homers and 4 doubles. Out toward Hicks in center field. Trots in for out number 1. Well, the Mariners Team Store Fan Dream States contest is going on for just a few more days. When you stop by any of the 5 Mariners team stores to sign up, you're automatically entered to win one of 10 fantastic prizes, including authentic Mariners apparel, a photo with a player, or even the chance to throw out the first pitch. So stop on by a Mariners team store to enter. Mariners have taken the lead on one big swing from Nelson Cruz. There is Seth Smith, strike 1. Smith 0 for 2, a fly ball out and a strikeout his last time up from Gibson. Is there a good way to pitch to Nelson Cruz these days, Mike?
I don't think so. And especially you mentioned the 12 games and the 7 home runs. Really, the only way to pitch to him is to not pitch to him.
Not.
Yeah. I'm talking about all the power that he has and the 28 home runs, and after that home run, he's hitting .316 on the year.
He hasn't had an average beneath 300 since sometime in April.
Well, I was just thinking that it wasn't too long ago that his average just funny, had gotten down to 300.
Yeah, he was teetering there for a while.
And now he has it back up to 316 with a lot of at-bats. So that gives you an idea of how hot he's been.
I mentioned the 4-hit game last night. That was his first 4-hit game of the season.
I mean, he's 2 for 3 tonight, and his batting average has gone up 2 points.
Count stays put, 3-2. Good numbers against the Twins. One out, nobody on. Mariners by a run. Nice play there by Escobar, and the throw in time. 2 outs. How about we take a look at our Coors Light cold hard facts? Take a look at what happened in the month of July for the Mariners, under 500. The offense was there. No team hit more home runs in the month of July than the Mariners. Seattle and Detroit, the most in baseball with 37. Only one team with more doubles, 51, the runs per game, in fine shape.
And it's too bad that they weren't able to take advantage of that. 3 games under 500 for the month.
Mariners won back-to-back games only one time in July. And that has been really one of the measuring sticks this year for the Mariners, as they have not won 3 games in a row since the end of May with that 3-game sweep in Tampa Bay. This is socked out towards Hicks. Hicks racing back. He's running out of room, but he makes the catch. Jackson out to the wall, but Nelson Cruz, a leadoff home run, as Nelson, a home run number 28 on the season. The Mariners on top by 1. by the edge. Thank you. First ball put in play. Smith makes the catch off the bat of Joe Mauer for round number 1. That'll bring in Sano. As Montgomery over 80 pitches. Quick out to begin the 6th.
Well, and I'll be curious to see how far they let him go. Again, in his last outing, he threw 116 pitches. So they may try to shorten his outing.
Yeah, that was the case to really help spell the bullpen a little bit, the 116.
Yeah, he went 6 2/3, so he's pitching in the 7th inning against Arizona.
Strike 1 to Sano. If you look ahead next year and maybe even years to come for the Twins, Sano seems like somebody who's going to make for some interesting roster decisions for the Twins. He's a third baseman by trade. Doesn't necessarily look like a third baseman just because of his sheer mass. But Plouffe has had a fine season. What his contract status will be, and if they decide to move Sano someplace else, first base, right field, what will happen to Torrey Hunter? Will he come back and play another season? It's a good problem to have, but this is a bat that Paul Molitor no doubt wants in his lineup.
Well, when you look at their outfield, you have Rosario and Hicks, and then you're going to add Buxton to it. So
I'm probably talking with people around the Twins when Buxton comes back, when the day comes when Hunter decides to hang him up. You put Hicks in right field, Buxton in center. Not a lot of fly balls going to drop over there.
No. And we've already seen it tonight. Hicks can cover a lot of ground, but Buxton is on another level.
Yeah. A supreme athlete. The 2-2. And a full count.
You mentioned it with Sano getting a chance to watch him play third base the last couple of days. At 6'4", 260 pounds, he actually did pretty well, I thought.
One out walking. Let's always remember that the listed weight 260. Well, that might be a little bit generous. It might even be more than that. Who knows? Saturday, August 22nd is Robinson Cano bobblehead night when the Mariners host the White Sox. Thanks to Root Sports. The first 20,000 fans will pick up this collectible that's as sweet as his swing. So stop by Mariners.com for tickets to Robinson Cano bobblehead night. Sano at first base. He's aboard for the first time tonight. And speaking of Trevor Plouffe, he steps in.
He has tripled and scored the 1 run for the Twins. Tripled out to right center field.
Came in on a wild pitch. Miller with 1 out. Down to second for 1. Marte to first base and the double play. Montgomery has got 6 strong innings. We're up to the 7th. Mariners by 1. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Jack in the Box, for limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. A classic building there, the Armory, home of the old Minneapolis Lakers, was just recently purchased. It's like somebody's going to try to make something out of that old beauty. Been used sporadically off and on recent years. Montero into left field. Rosario in towards the corner, and Montero will have to hold it the single.
Talked about it with Gibson. He's thrown a lot of first pitch strikes, and most of them with the fastball. Right there looked like maybe a cutter. His changeup. Montero hits it hard. Pitch runner Logan Morrison going to pinch run for Montero.
And Lomo dealing with a deep bone bruise in his thumb. There's Miller. Like we were talking earlier, that was an injury that Lomo got on a swing, and that's something that Lloyd said today probably will stay with him to some extent the rest of the season.
Well, anybody that's ever had a bone bruise on their thumb, it's almost impossible to swing a bat. And for Logan, he'd been jammed a couple of times, so he already had the bruise there, and then it was that last swing that you're talking about, Aaron, that did a lot of the damage. But typically when you get one, look, these guys play every day. They take a lot of swings every day, and he's going to hopefully get it to a point to where it's manageable and he can deal with it. It's on his left hand, his top hand, so playing in the field should not be a problem for him.
One ball and one strike to Miller. Mariners got a run of the first inning. The RBI ground out by Cano. Then Cruz gave the Mariners the lead in the sixth inning after the Twins tied it up. Nelson with home run number 28.
And Gibson now at 96 pitches. Veen and O'Rourke getting loose in the Twins bullpen. Tom Wilhelmsen getting loose in the Mariners pen. And we thought that might be the case. Again, a lot of pitches for Montgomery in his last outing, 116. We thought they may get him out a little bit early tonight. It looks like that's what's going to happen. There's Tom.
Couple of arms loosen up in the Twins bullpen. Miller fights it off foul. Brad has reached twice tonight without a hit. He was hit by a pitch and then walked back in the fifth. In fact, he was down 0-2 in that second inning when Gibson had struck out Jackson on 3 pitches, Montero on 3 pitches, so a chance for the immaculate inning rather. 9 pitches, all strikes and 3 strikeouts, but was hit on the knee. The 1-2. High to left center. Hicks having to track it down onto the warning track. Hicks can't make the catch. Morrison chugs it to second base. Steams it to third. He's held up there. And Miller with a double as he pins it in the chain link fence.
And he really hit that ball a long way. It looks like a changeup. It is the changeup, 84 miles an hour. It hit it about 400 feet as it hit the fence. You can see 411 out in dead center field. It's been a great situation for the Mariners to try to add on. Mike Zunino a chance to pick up an RBI. The Twins will bring their infield in. Mariners so far tonight 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
Chance here for Zunino. Twins bullpen loosening up. Here comes pitch 100 from Gibson. And it's skied high out towards Hicks. Coming in, medium depth. Lomo ready, takes off, and quickly gets back to third base. Out number one.
Yeah. And a good idea. Hicks has a strong throwing arm. Marte picked up his first major league hit in his last at bat. See if he can pick up an RBI.
And the infield single in the fifth inning comes up here in the seventh with Morrison at third, Miller at second base, following his double. One out. Marte on the grass to Dozier. Keeps Lobo at bay. Out number two. We'll take a look now at our Columbia Bank difference of the game, and it comes from the Mariners right fielder Nelson Cruz. Giving the Mariners the lead with this big swat, Mike.
Right off the back of the bullpen. His 28th home run on the year. He also homered in last night's game.
Never a wall scraper.
No, not with Nelson. Well, the Mariners in great shape, second and third, and nobody out. And the runners are still standing there. Kyle Seager see if he can clutch up with 2 outs now.
2 outs on the last 3 pitches thrown by Gibson after the single, then the double.
Two pitches. This will probably be his last hitter. Nelson Cruz 2 for 3 with a double and a home run.
Bullpen's been loosening up. Seager ahead 2-0. Seager ahead 2-0. Seager ahead 2-0. Morrison at third, Miller at second base as Seager steps out. Morrison at third, Miller at second base as Seager steps out. Here comes Suzuki. Two 2-0 to Seager. Chance here for a little insurance. The pitch right to Dozier. 2-0 for out number 3. Morrison left at third, Miller at second. They were there with nobody out. The next 3 sat down. Time to stretch from Target Field. Stretching your body, how about stretching your mind as you consider how a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list? Play today. Plenty of good eats around Target Field as we make our way to the bottom of the 7th. A little foreshadowing for after the game here tonight, Mike. If things go as planned, we got a new pitcher up on the mound. You can see the final line here for Mike Montgomery.
Really threw the ball well tonight. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run for him. A couple of walks, 6 strikeouts, 91 pitches. He threw 60 strikes. Tom Wilhelmsen will take over. 28 appearances on the year for Tom. 4.32 ERA. 35 strikeouts, 33 in the third. Opponent's hitting .290 against Tom. Good fastball. He'll be in the mid-90s with his fastball. 12-6 curveball, changeup, and a cutter. Logan Morrison will stay in the game at first base.
First pitch to Hunter. And a missile low for ball 1. Tonight's start for Montgomery is kind of right in line with what we've come to expect from Mike when he's throwing well, like he has for most of the year up in the big leagues. And that is, had a couple of moments where he was in the weeds, had the bases full, had a tying run at scoring position on an error. Smith is there to put the squeeze on for out number 1. And yet, for a guy who's making only his 12th career major league start, if you were just a casual observer at the ballpark tonight, probably wouldn't be able to guess it.
Well, and the real shame of it is the 1 run that he ended up giving up because he had Torrey Hunter up there with a runner on third and 1 out. Was able to get the strikeout, had 2 strikes on Rosario, and unfortunately threw a changeup that went to the backstop, and that's how they scored their run. So he was a pitch away from getting out of that inning.
Yeah, and here is Rosario. Twins holding that second wild card spot by 1 game. Orioles and Blue Jays right behind him as the count goes 2-0 on Rosario. It's amazing when you think about the Twins and really just the American League Central as a whole entering this year. The Royals were maybe the most underappreciated pennant winners in recent years. As a 4-pitch walk is dealt to Rosario. And the tie and run for the Twins at first base. Now kids, get ready to show off your speed when you head to Safeco Field Sunday, August 9th for our next run around the bases. Following the game, all youngsters will be invited to circle the diamond thanks to KeyBank. Join the fun when you get tickets at Mariners.com. All the Royals have done those, win 61 games, and they'll be the best team in the American League. The Tigers, everybody always assumes that the Central goes through Detroit, and the Tigers were sellers at the deadline. Cespedes to the Mets, Price to the Rays, to the Blue Jays. The Tigers with 50 wins in 3rd place, as you can see the standings here. Chicago had probably the best offseason without question among any team in the Central, bringing in all kinds of offense. They're finally starting to catch fire a little bit, but under 500 and far back from first place Kansas City. And it has been the Twins to surprise everybody.
And Tom right now having a tough time finding the strike zone. 8 pitches, only 2 strikes for Tom.
Pitch out. Suzuki an infield single, and he spent a lot of time with Trent Jewett in our nation's capital. They were both with the Nationals at one point. Fred, part of the coaching staff there, and he raves about Suzuki as a teammate, as a ball player, as a professional. Sky high pop up foul. Zunino up with the mask, but it's Lomo to make the catch. Now number 2. Time for our Geico this date in Major League history as Mike Cameron ending the longest game in Safeco Field history. How about that, Mike? Bottom of the 19th. The bullpen, 10 scoreless innings.
If I remember correctly, I think Cameron hit a home run to right field to end the game.
Five hours, 34 minutes. And steps Escobar.
Come on, let's go. You got him, baby. Come on.
Escobar struck out on a Mike Montgomery changeup in the 3rd, then on Montgomery's fastball in the 5th. Will Helmson working with Rosario at first base, reaching on the walk. When we get to the 8th, it'll be Cruz, Cano, and Smith due up. Pops this one up. Miller all kinds of time, has to wait for it to come back down to earth. And there it is. Now number 3, and the Twins strand the tying run at first base. We're through 7. Mariners have the lead. The 1965 pennant-winning Twins as Mudcat Grant, an all-star that season, 14 complete games. Jim Cott pitched in Game 7 of the World Series. Jim Perry as well. And what a special on-field ceremony it was. And then Tony Oliva, 8 straight all-star appearances, 300 hitter, 15 years in the big leagues. 50 years ago, the 1965 Minnesota Twins, 102-60. Lost to Sandy Koufax of the Dodgers in 7 games in the World Series. Koufax was the MVP.
Really enjoyed my conversation with Jim Cott today. It was great. A lot of fun.
That's pretty terrific.
Yeah.
Casey Fiend, the new pitcher.
Well, Casey, 32 appearances on the year. He's given up 34 hits and 33 in the 3rd. Opponents are hitting .258 against him.
Hard hit and a shot gobbled up there by Escobar. Round number 1. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag RTNWDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
And Paul Molitor going to make a pitching change.
So a quick night for Casey Fiend. One pitch in play and an out to the shortstop. Will step aside. A pitching change. Nobody on top of the 8th. What's next? Iwakuma in the series finale tomorrow afternoon here from Target Field. Be taking on Mike Pelfrey. Pelfrey and tonight's starter Kyle Gibson. Time for the most ground ball double plays in baseball this year. Beautiful shot of downtown Minneapolis. Very pleasant night here at the ballpark. Ryan O'Rourke, the new pitcher, up on the mound, the second reliever tonight for the Twins.
Just 9 appearances for him on the year. A 1 ERA. Opponent's just hitting 103 against him.
On to face Cano. Robinson an RBI without a hit tonight. RBI ground out in the first inning. That gave the Mariners an early 1-0 lead. Twins got their run on a Mike Montgomery wild pitch. And then the Mariners getting the lead right back. Nelson Cruz a leadoff home run in the 6th inning. First pitch strike to Cano. Robinson really has put up fine numbers at this ballpark in his career. He's a career .406 hitter at Target Field with 17 RBIs and 17 games entering tonight. And that RBI pace has kept on. The run batted into the first inning. As Lloyd said before the game, looks like if all things go well, we will see Cano DHing again tomorrow in the finale. Then at second base, if all goes to plan, game 1 in Colorado. 3-game series against the Rockies before a day off, and then the Rangers and the Orioles come to town. Goes around. There's that off-speed pitch again from O'Rourke. Threw it a couple of times, and Cano down on strikes.
After a couple of good fastballs coming back with the breaking ball in the dirt, just 78 miles an hour. And you can see Robbie out in front of it, tried to hold up his swing, but wasn't able to do it.
Two outs for Seth Smith. Rodney beginning to warm up. Wilhelmsen threw a scoreless 7th. And he gets him to go. Nice month of July for Smith. Now, O'Rourke has given up only 1 hit to lefties so far. Now, that's only in 15 at bats. Not many appearances so far this year. But you can see his purpose in the Twins bullpen right now. Come on to get lefties. The Mariners have back-to-back left-handed hitters in Cano and now Smith. As this is shot to left field. Rosario at an angle, but drift into the track. Side retired in order. That'll take us to the bottom of the 8th. Mariners holding on by a run. Of the Seattle Mariners, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, Mariners on top by a run. Now, one hop your way home. Take Link Light Rail to the airport for just $3. Schedule available at soundtransit.org. Tom Wilhelmsen does his job in the 7th. A scoreless frame, a walk sprinkled in, and now gives the ball to Fernando Rodney in a 1-run game.
44 appearances for Fernando, a 5.57 ERA. Opponent's hitting .263 against him. He's given up 8 home runs this year. And he will deal with the top of the lineup for the Twins. It'll be Dozier, Hicks, and Mauer due up.
Now, the long ball has been a problem at times this year for Rodney, facing Dozier with 22 of them on the season. Most among the Twins.
And we talked about it at the beginning of the series. For Dozier, he likes to hit the fastball, and he likes the fastball at the top of the strike zone. Have to pitch him down.
And he gets strike 1. That caught a lot of the plate. Rodney's 1-1, and it makes it 1-2. Now this is a situation, Mike, maybe you'd have to think with just the way the bullpen has been constructed that Mark Lowe might be pitching at this point.
Oh, I think so at this point. With the way that Lowe had been pitching, he's the guy that tried to get the ball to Carson, but Mark is now in Toronto.
He was your bridge guy.
Yeah. And Joe Beimel getting loose in the pen.
Soft ground ball and a foul ball. Rick waits. Lloyd McClendon working with Rodney on tipping pitches, something that Lloyd told us all during the start of the series against the Diamondbacks. That has been the focal point of instruction with Rodney. Last two outings have gone well, both against Arizona back at home.
Twins closer Glenn Perkins getting loose in the Twins bullpen.
He's been one of the best in baseball in recent years, an all-star once again this season. Rodney's 2-2 and a full count. You've got Hicks, the switch hitter, on deck, then Mauer. Top three due up for the Twins. Dozier down on strikes. What a change up there by Rodney, and a big time strikeout to begin the bottom of the 8th inning.
And you'll take a look at it. Dozier trying to get out in front of a fastball, but it is the changeup at 83, and it was a strike right there at the bottom of the strike zone.
Here is Hicks, a couple of strikeouts and a single tonight.
The left-hander Mauer on deck. You mentioned Hicks, the switch hitter against left-handed pitching, hitting .404, just .236 against right-handers. So Lloyd McClendon going to stay with the righty and Fernando Rodney.
Now Hicks coming off really his best month as a big leaguer. Hit nearly .350 in July. And OPS just over 1,000 last month. And the injury to Byron Buxton, the Twins' top prospect, really allowing some more playing time for Hicks, who has capitalized on it to say the least. Get some thinking there. The changeup to make it 1-2. A strikeout to Dozier to begin the bottom of this 8th inning. Now 1-2 to Hicks. Evens up. Rodney, the 2-2, strike three, caught. He gets him lower shelf. 96 from Rodney. So the changeup to Dozier, the heat to Hicks, and back-to-back punch-outs to begin the last of the 8th.
Just a good fastball, as Aaron said. It's right down the middle, but at the bottom of the strike zone. Hicks thought it was low. Another look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo. And that fastball at 96, you could really see Rodney reach back for a little extra.
And now facing Mauer as the Mariners put the shift on. Mauer, good numbers against Rodney lifetime. Moves his feet for ball one.
Logan Morrison right on the line at first base. All the outfielders playing just in front of the warning track, trying to take the double away. See how deep the outfielders are.
Carson warming up. The opposite way towards the line.
.97 on that last fastball.
Mauer, a classic opposite field hitter. The wind blowing out to left.
You can see the hits by direction. Most of them going towards left field.
One and two. Rodney got Dozier on the change. You got Hicks looking at the heat. The 1-2 here. Low to make it 2-2. Sano on deck. You don't want to face him. And the home run last night, the only hit for the Twins. Rodney trying to send this one into the 9th inning.
And Beimel has sat down in the pen. Carson Smith getting loose now. There's Carson.
Two balls, two strikes. The opposite way once again and foul. Still 2-2. That seemed like a pretty good pitch to hit. Minus the whole 96 part.
Exactly.
Again on 2-2 and again a foul ball.
Kind of right back with the changeup. Talked about it with Rodney, and you were talking about him tipping pitches, Aaron. It's really important for him because he's not a guy that's trying to pitch on the edges of the plate. He has two pitches for the most part, a fastball and a changeup. And it's the deception where he's made his career as a closer.
Two, cut on and missed, and he gets him with the changeup. Rodney strikes out the side in order, and the Twins go back to the dugout. We go to the 9th inning. Mariners by a run. Mariners still lead it by a run. I hope you can join us for EQC Girls Night Out set for next Friday, when the Mariners take on the Rangers at 7:10. For just $40, you'll get a main or terrace club seat, a great looking Mariners cap, and your first drink. Visit mariners.com/girls for tickets. Top of the ninth inning, the Mariners trying to add on a run or two to make things a little more comfortable for Carson Smith in the bottom of the ninth. They'll face a new pitcher for the second time this series, Trevor May.
23 appearances, a 4.32 ERA, 78 strikeouts in 89 2/3 innings. Opponents hitting .288 against him. He's given up 8 home runs this year.
May from Longview, Washington. Went to Kelso High. Began the season in the rotation, went to the bullpen. That's when Irvin Santana came off the suspension list, ding for PEDs. First pitch strike to Jackson, leading off the ninth.
One of the things that will be interesting is Logan Morrison is on deck. Talked about the bone bruise that he has on his thumb on the left hand. See if he's able to swing a bat. Came into the game as a pinch runner and he's going to stay in for his defense. Now he's going to have to hit.
And we'll wait to find out after the game and then tomorrow morning how Jesus Montero is doing after being collided with at first base in the neck of all places. Out to Hicks, who curls in. And out number one. And you can see, Mike, maybe some added protection on that thumb, the left thumb.
I would bet there's something inside of his batting glove, and then he has some tape wrapped around his thumb right now.
First time for Lomo digging in and taking some hacks since Wednesday.
Well, I can tell you with the situation he has with his thumb, he's going to look for something out over the plate. Anything inside is going to be tough on him to get to. Going right in there.
You're right, 0-2.
Now they put the shift on Plouffe, the third baseman, going to the right side of the infield.
One out, nobody on. Mariners by a run. Top of the ninth inning. Line drive but pulled foul. Mariners got both their runs tonight off of Kyle Gibson, the starter for the Twins.
Fastball in the middle of the plate.
The 1-2 to Morrison. And gets a piece of Suzuki there.
Good fastball from May, 97 miles an hour.
Miller on deck with one out. And Lobo caught looking 97. And a tough pitch there inside. 2 up, 2 down for May. Oh, are you the ultimate Northwest fan in the state of Idaho? Then Root Sports is looking for you throughout the month of August. Send us a photo and story using hashtag UltimateNWFanID or by email at ultimatefan@rootsports.com. You could win a VIP trip for 2 to Seattle in October, a personalized jersey, and much more. For official rules, all you have to do, just visit rootsports.com. May starts Miller off with a strike. Nice night for Brad tonight. He's reached base all 3 times. A hit by pitch, a walk, and a double. which hit the fence in left center. Carson all ready to go. He will face the middle three in the order for the Twins. It'll be Sano, Plouffe, and Hunter. Mariners trying to give him a little bit of breathing room here in the ninth. Trying to add to this 1-run lead. Miller's 0-2, hopping to Dozier, charging. 1-2-3 innings spun. And the Mariners sat down in order. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Carson Smith coming on for the save. And hopefully 3 outs away as Carson Smith takes over here, Mike, for Fernando Rodney, who struck out the side in order, and it is Carson on for the save.
And for Carson on the year, 44 appearances, 2.41 ERA, 53 strikeouts in the 41 innings that he has worked. That's a lot of strikeouts. Opponents hitting just 170 against Carson. Good fastball, he'll be in the mid to low 90s, and one of the better sliders in the business. Tough part of the lineup, though. Sano, Plouffe, and Hunter, middle of the lineup for the Twins.
Right away, it is power versus power. Carson, that mid-90s seat, and Sano, who homered last night, 4 in his call-up, since his call-up, rather. The opposite way towards the corner, and it's in there for a base hit, a fair ball, and extra bases for Sano. The Twins have the tying run at second, and they'll bring the winning run up to the plate right away.
And for Sano, he didn't waste any time. It's a fastball, 93 miles an hour, middle away, about belt high. He lined it down into the corner. The big man can run, no problem getting into second. They will bring on a pinch runner for him.
It'll be Shane Robinson.
The Twins tonight are 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Here is Plouffe. Starts him off the first pitch, slider, strike. Tying run at second base. Got Comes swinging there, and it's quickly 0-2. Remember, Plouffe has been away for some time, a few days after the birth of his first child, so he has not been in the batter's box much recently, and now in a critical juncture here in the 9th inning facing Carson Smith. Plouffe down on 3 pitches. That didn't take long for Carson Smith. 1 out.
It was all 3 sliders, and the last slider in a perfect spot. 0-2, just off the outside corner, down out of the strike zone. You take a look at it. Zunino's going to be ready for it in case it goes into the dirt. Pretty good pitch by Carson.
Now facing Torrey Hunter. Hunter 0 for 3, a strikeout in the 4th. Robinson pinch running for Sano, who doubled on the first pitch of this inning. Carson keeps an eye on him. Hunter up and in. It gets away from Zunino, and Robinson is now at third. Hunter somehow dodged the bullet, and it gives the Twins an extra 90 feet.
And I'm not sure how. It was 95 miles an hour. It looked like it was right at his head. We'll take a look at it. They want to get a fastball inside, but he gets away from him, and wow, that was close. The Mariners will now bring their infield in. Lloyd McClendon out of the dugout. As you take a look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo, and just enough reaction time by Torrey Hunter to get out of the way. Nobody throwing in the Mariner pen, so Lloyd going out to have a conversation. You're talking about Torrey going to decide at the end of the year whether he's going to play anymore. It's pitches like that after 19 years in this league that they make you lean to maybe just going to the house.
I might not need many more of those. But that wild pitch, Mike, how does that now change the approach, the mindset of what Hunter wants to do here with the man at third base and 1 out?
Well, I think for him, he was certainly watching when Plouffe was hitting, and he saw the 3 sliders, and that's why I was amazed that he was able to get out of the way of the fastball, because I'm sure that he's got that in the back of his mind. They have a scouting report knowing that his slider is his best pitch, but the Mariners will keep their infield in.
Tying run at third.
This with the slider.
Zunino able to find it. Robinson stays put. Now pretty thin ice here in the bottom of the 9th. 1 out. Runner at third base. That's a tying man. Shane Robinson pinch running. The 2-0, and he gets him swinging. Another slider.
If he can put Hunter away, it gets interesting. You have Rosario, the left-handed hitter, waiting on deck, and Suzuki, the catcher, behind him. Suzuki not having a good year. We'll see what Lloyd wants to do.
Right back to Carson. That'll keep Robinson at third base, and that is a huge out, number 2. Carson, the quick reflexes. Hunter easily out. 1 more to go.
Another slider. Carson makes the play. You can see Robinson started down the line.
Now it's up to Eddie Rosario.
They're going to put him on. I thought they would put him on. You have Suzuki waiting. On the bench, you have Nunez and the backup catcher Fryer. So they're going to make Suzuki try to beat him. Suzuki hitting just .231 compared to the .288. And he's a right-handed hitter.
Logical move by Lloyd here. Runners down the corners. Robinson at third base. Here's the tying run. Rosario, who hit pedal pretty well, he's at first base. The winning run. And Kurt Suzuki at the plate. Slider gets away. Here comes Robinson, and we're tied. Both runs tonight for the Twins coming on a pair of wild pitches.
Well, Carson Smith, you're right. He wild pitches Robinson to second base or to third base, and then he wild pitches him home. Yeah, the double by Sano. Robinson pinch running, a wild pitch to get in the third, and then a wild pitch to get him home. And now you have to go ahead run at second base.
It's a strike there. Smith entered tonight with 3 wild pitches all season, 2 in this one inning. A wild pitch in the 4th to score Plouffe, and 1 here with 2 outs in the 9th to bring in Robinson. Check swing, and he does not go.
Another slider. Good play by Mike Zunino to keep this one in front of him. On both the wild pitches in this inning, neither one of them anywhere near the strike zone. A fastball at 95 that almost hit Hunter. Went to the backstop. Lloyd McClendon out of the dugout. And then the slider was well off the plate.
And he is going to stroll all the way out to Mike Walensky at first base. Wants to talk over that check swing. And Lloyd starting to get kind of hot. Walensky ruled it a ball, and Lloyd thinks he went around, and Lloyd might get the heave-ho pretty soon.
Well, he's trying to, but I'm not sure that Mike wants to oblige him.
He's staying in.
And you can take a look at it right here. This might be a better look.
Lloyd's still hot about it. Walensky, born in Washington, and has lived in Washington all his life, and a former Husky.
Wondering if he did run him. We just didn't see it because Lloyd left the dugout.
Off to third base, and in there Rosario.
Well, that's a big stolen base. I know normally you wouldn't think so with 2 outs and already in scoring position, but with a couple of wild pitches that have already happened in this inning, that is a big stolen base. There's been a lot of sliders well off the plate away.
Winning run, Rosario, 90 feet from home, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th inning. Been a while since Suzuki's last walk-off hit, and it came at the Mariners' expense. Long time A. Third base side and through, and the Twins win it. They walk off in the 9th inning.
That has been the way this month of July has gone for the Mariners. Now we're here on the 1st of August, and a similar type of thing where pitching just hasn't been able to hold it up. A lot of close games for the Mariners and too many mistakes in this one. You go back to Mike Montgomery. What an outing for him tonight. Ended up scoring a couple of runs on wild pitches. As you take a look at this, the fastball in the middle of the plate. Suzuki hits it through the hole on the left side. 95 miles an hour.
The Twins. Sorry, Mike.
I was going to say, and the other thing, Aaron, that you can go back and look at is the 7th inning for the Mariners. They had 2nd and 3rd with nobody out and did not score. And I was hoping you wouldn't have to go back and look at it, but now that is something that Lloyd McClendon's going to think about with his ball club. And what happened, they ended up 0 for 6 tonight with runners in scoring position.
The Twins never led in this ball game until the final at bat. Suzuki wins it. 2 of their 3 runs coming on wild pitches. And this one's a heartbreaker. Now Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now with Angie and Bill, guys.